حوارات الخدمات الحكومية أو GXTalks هي منصة تفاعلية لتبادل أفضل الممارسات الرائدة في مجال الخدمات الحكومية. واليوم نحن نسعى للاستفادة من إمكانات الحوار المفتوح والتناقش، وأن تكون حلقة وصل بين المتخصصين والمبدعين من أجل تحقيق الريادة في مجال تصميم وتقديم الخدمات الحكومية في دولة الإمارات. يسرنا اليوم دعوة السيد أوت فاتر المدير لبرنامج الإقامة الإلكترونية في جمهورية إستونيا لإلقاء حوار بعنوان الخدمات والهوية المجتمعية في المجتمع الرقمي. واليوم نحن عندنا المتحدث أوت فاتر كان في القمة العالمية للحكومات قبل شهر ونص أو شهرين تقريبا، وتحدث أيضا عن التجربة الحكومية وكيف نقدر نخلي الخدمات الحكومية تتطور بشكل أسرع ومتطور. Mr. Ott Vatter, welcome to GXTalks. For the ladies and gentlemen here, GXTalks is a platform for exchanging best practices in the field of services. By harnessing the power of open dialogue, we are uniting practitioners and innovators to lead the next frontier of government experience design and delivery. We are pleased to invite Mr. Ott Vatter, Managing Director of E-Residency Program in the Republic of Estonia, to start the talk under the theme of Services and Identity in a Digital Society. Mr. Ott Vatter, please.
Thank you. Excellent to be here. My name is Ott, and I am here today to represent the most informal part of the Estonian government, the e-residency program. The e-residency program, or e-Estonia as we call it, is an anomaly because we call e-residency a governmental startup. Governments are very slow and usually very conservative, whereas startups are quite fast or have to be quite fast and innovative. So in essence, it is already a very controversial project that we have done. I will talk about e-residency a bit more, but I will give you a general overview of what we have done in e-Estonia and why we have done it. So here, coming closer to the IT sector, you can actually see nature in Estonia. This is what Estonia looks like. So we have two important pillars in Estonia, which is the nature and IT. That is basically what we have. A bit background information in general from Estonia, where it is. For example, it's a country in Northern Europe. We only have 1.3 million people. And this is quite crucial in the innovation and development of Estonia, because with 1.3 million people, you can do innovation much more easily than actually with 13 million or 130 million people. We are quite small country, member of European Union and NATO, and ICT sector is 7% of our whole country's GDP. Some of the ratings, I'm not going to bore you too much with these, but as a small country, we've been quite successful in innovating in some of the competitions and international rating programs. Internet in Estonia is considered a social right. Every Estonian has an electronic ID similar to the one that you have, my ID. The platform is exactly the same, and we use this to access services digitally. We can't imagine our life without this card. So this is our key to our communication with our government. So we pay the taxes with this card, we log into our healthcare system, we actually register the birth of our children using this card online. And everybody in Estonia trusts these solutions. And 99% of all the services in Estonia are available online. There are two things you cannot do in Estonia online. This is getting married or divorced, which is basically the same thing, and buying property or selling property. So for these transactions, you have to go physically to a notary. You have to have a physical meeting, and you cannot do this from your computer. I think you understand why, because these things are quite important things in life, and you should meet someone physically for these processes. But we are working on making this digital as well. Clear and honest principles. So when your data has been asked once, I think that is enough. You have given your data to the government. We have it already in our databases that are connected. For example, your healthcare data, your government data, your location where you are living. Why do we have to ask for this data again each time you come to our offices? So we should use the same data from time to time again. An open internet is an open society. So the ease of doing business in Estonia is simple. It only takes actually not a few hours to start a company, but today it already takes a few minutes, 18 minutes to start a company using your digital identity online. We have e-taxation platform, meaning that you can declare your taxes online. The taxes are pre-filled for you, so you don't have to do anything yourself but to confirm. So you look at your data that has been reported by the tax authority, and if you agree or you do not agree. But usually you will agree, because they are not mistaken. A full automation tax reporting by 2020 is in one of our goals. And the digital identity program that we have made available, which is the e-residency program, which allows anyone in the world to actually conduct business through Estonia without physically visiting Estonia. Healthcare in Estonia. I mentioned the once only principle. So we take data protection very, very seriously in Estonia. We have all of the health data online, digitally, on an X-Road platform, and we use digital prescription. So for example, if you have a medication that you need, we go to the pharmacy, you use your My ID or Estonian digital ID card, you give it to the pharmacist, they put it into the system, and they see immediately what medication you need, and then you get it. The same is for medical records. So for example, with an ambulance, you have some injury, you call the ambulance. Within 30 seconds, the ambulance using GPS tracking will know where you are. You will get your identity code, your unique identity code, and through that, the ambulance already has information. What is your blood type? What previous illnesses you have had, and if you have some allergies to some medication. So they can already prepare this. So when they arrive, they are very well prepared to take you, to cure you, and then take it to the hospital. The hospital also has this information already. We're also working on a personalized medicine endeavor to guarantee kind of understanding of potential illnesses that you might have in the future. We also had one interesting case where, regarding data protection, one of our prime ministers had a heart attack, and during his illness, one of the doctors looked at his private data, which he was not the doctor of the prime minister, but it was a separate doctor. And we take data protection very seriously. This is an offense, and the license of this doctor was revoked. So it is very important that you can only look at the data that you have a right to look at. Data protection is very, very, very important in this digital identity sphere. So for example, the police also, you can ask from the police why they have looked at your data for some reason. And if there is no basis for this information, and if they have looked at it with no rights, this is also an offense. So data protection is very important in the modern world. The electronic identity that I mentioned you, this is the kind of basis of e-Estonia. This is the backbone or the key to e-Estonia. Without this, it could not function. And with this, you get a unique identifier, a personal identity code that you will use throughout your life for all kinds of different communications with the government. It is also compliant with EIDAS. EIDAS is a pan-European digital identity program. That means that with Estonian electronic ID, you could log into also Portugal or Germany public services. So it is kind of interconnected. We also have mobile ID and smart ID, which is based on the same system, but mobile ID is based on the SIM card, and smart ID is based on a mobile app, which means that you use the same kind of logic to log into different government services, but not using the card, but you use the mobile phone. How do we do it, you ask? So this is the kind of platform on what the whole e-Estonia is running on. It's called the X-Road. So the X-Road means basically like a highway, a big road that is connected with smaller roads. And these smaller roads lead to different databases or different institutions or private companies. And again, using the digital identity, you make an inquiry through the X-Road to these databases. We have over now 1,000 different organizations and databases that are connected to this system, and we have exported this same system to different countries in the world. We have over 500 million transactions, and all of this data is protected by blockchain technology. So it's hash timestamped data. We are also quite well known in the cyberspace because historically we have an aggressive neighbor, Russia, next to us. And in 2007, we had the first ever known cyber attack or cyber war act to Estonia. And after that, we created together with NATO the Center of Cyber Excellence of European Union to Estonia. We also started a project called Data Embassies after that situation, where we replicate Estonia's government into a neutral embassy in EU. So in case of aggression or war, you could run the country remotely. So if something happens physically to your country. So we backed up our country in Luxembourg, in the Estonian embassy in Luxembourg. So we have two countries, so to say. Security, it is an issue today regarding data privacy or the integrity of the data. You need to have your data kept safe, and Estonia uses a system called the KSI blockchain technology for this for data set to be kept safe. It's the same for healthcare, it's the same for population registry and Estonian general state systems. So we call ourselves the pioneers of blockchain because we were using the same system already, or starting to use the same systems where the term blockchain didn't exist, but we call this hash timestamps technology. And we are exporting this knowledge through our private companies as well, so we keep the integrity of our data. So we don't have any databases on blockchain technology, but we keep the data safe that is in these databases. And no data is ever saved on the blockchain, which is an important thing to denote. So for example, here you can see e-health, the Estonian health registry, property and land registry. So in Estonia, it is public information who owns some part of land. So if you know the name of the land or the registry code of the land, you can publicly look who is the owner of this. You have to make an inquiry, but this is public. The same with businesses. Owners and yearly economic reports of businesses are public. E-court system is also, the data is protected by blockchain. Surveillance and tracking information system, I mentioned the GPS and the ambulance and the police, all of this. And official state announcements and national press. The safest combination of these two to actually keep the data safe. We have been using it from 2008 to actually assure the confidentiality in the cloud. Data breach management and real-time awareness to actually protect the data inside government systems. And we believe that this all has been possible not because of technology or money. It has been possible for the legal permissive environment. So for all of this innovation to happen, we actually had to change a lot of laws. And this is the basis to actually make innovation happen. So in Estonia, we started the process for law changing for AI 2 years ago, for self-driving cars 3 years ago. And you need this legal permissive environment to actually make the innovation a reality. Without technology, or with technology or money, you can't do it alone. You need to have legal basis. So we are experimenting with a lot of different innovations. One is the delivery robot, for example, that you can see here, Starship. Public transport to self-driving vehicles, as I mentioned, the self-driven bus that we are testing at the moment, and different robotics and AI-based machines that could make life of our citizens better. Coming back to e-residency, so this is what I do every day, a digital identity program that is available for everyone in the world. Imagine this as my ID, but it's available for everyone. I don't have a photo on this card because you can't travel physically. It is not a physical document. It's only for virtual identification purposes and communication with your government services. And the main service that the e-residents want or need is access to EU business environment. They have customers, they have business interest to be in EU, and e-residency is a technology, an identity that actually gives them the possibility to access EU without physically going there. So if you have any EU business interest, you can use e-residency from your home to actually conduct business. And today we have almost 60,000 e-residents, around 6,500 companies, and around 160 different countries that have e-residents from. And why we are doing this is that we believe that people are not going to be in one place. They're not going to work for one company for 40 or 50 years. The generation that is becoming working at the moment is spending their life in different places. They want to travel more. Air travel is becoming cheaper, and they work for many different companies, not only one company. And today we don't have this solution for them to actually base their company in one place if they're traveling all the time. And we believe that freelancing as a concept is growing and will grow. And here you can see a graph. Probably you have seen it somewhere in social media regarding the sharing economy companies, Uber, Facebook, Alibaba, Airbnb, that they actually own no assets themselves. So they actually use the assets of their customers and their drivers, or Facebook, the data of us, Airbnb, the actual houses of the users. And something interesting happened because they don't have assets themselves. And we made an addition here, which Estonia could be the largest country in the world, but only have 1.3 million physical residents. So we don't have to have e-residents live in Estonia physically, but they could be virtual citizens of our country and conduct business without coming to Estonia.